guys, today we're going to talk about how to use the Nord Wave 2 in two different ways. One way is to use it as a 4-layer synth, and the other way is to use it as a 4-oscillator synth, or a 4-part synth, all being controlled by the same values. What makes this synthesizer so cool is that if you think about it as just layers, it's like you have literally 4 Nord Wave 2s stacked on each other, and they all can do completely separate things as a stack or split. And then once you get into morphing, the possibilities are endless. And then this second way, this more traditional way, is treating each layer by means of grouping, like a classic analog synth, like the Model D over there. So let's start with actually just creating a starting point for doing a classic 3-oscillator synth. What we're gonna do is we're gonna click all at the same time, layers A, B, and C. Cool, so now we have 3 Nord Wave 2 layers happening. Now, this is the important part. We are going to make sure that anytime we adjust a dial or a control, all layers are being adjusted at the same time, just like on a classic synth when you move like the filter's affecting all the voices. So to do this, it's quite easy. We're gonna press Shift and then Group, and we're gonna press Group on whatever parameter / module we want to be part of the group, and I want them all. So amp envelope, filter, FX1, FX2, EQ, delay, and reverb. And lastly, we need to make sure that all of the groups on the group level are working in tandem. So we're gonna hold Shift and press so all 3 groups are lit up. So now we have basically a sawtooth wave on each oscillator, and I've changed this to low pass M, which is kind of like a Moog style filter. Cool, so we've done our basic setup with 3 oscillators. Now we can change each oscillator to do anything we want, you know, sawtooth wave, square, sine, just like we would on an analog synth. And where it gets really interesting is it doesn't have to be just, you know, any classic wave. It could be samples, it could be FM, it could be a wavetable. I mean, you can really mix and match, but for all purposes right now, we're going to just turn this into like regular monophonic Model D style synth. So on the first one, let's change this to basically, how about a square? We'll have another, we'll do a pulse, and we'll do another square right here. Cool. Now you'll notice I'm playing chords. If we go through and just press legato on each one, now we have a mono synth. Now, of course, classic analog style, let's detune everything a little bit besides the first oscillator. So we're going to take that first oscillator, we're going to just bring it down a little bit, and then we'll take that third oscillator, and then we'll bring it up. Not only that, let's take everybody down an octave. Cool. Let's bring oscillator 3 back up. I want to make the mod wheel control the frequency. So what we got to do is go over here, hit wheel, and start at 0, and then we'll bring it all the way to the top, let go, and now, cool, if we add in some resonance, we get that sound. Let's add some drive. Awesome. Let's add some bass. Let's add some aftertouch vibrato. We want to add some filter envelope into this so we can get some pluck vibes. So we'll just mess with our filter. Remember, this is affecting all of the layers, all of the oscillators. And then we'll bring it in with this envelope amount. Bring in some resonance. So there you go. That's how you can make already, just with 3 layers, turning into a classic monotype synth. Obviously, you can also do more of a classic polyphonic synth with this setting where you don't engage legato. You can really create all the classics from back in the day. Let's just pull up a few real quick that I made. That's for all you Rush fans. Okay, that's a jump style patch, and that's just using 2 oscillators. Here's like an OB style pad, just using 2 oscillators. If you group everything together, this turns into your ultimate polyphonic analog style synth. Let's turn to looking at this as a multi-layer synth where we can stack sounds. And for this one, let's use like piano and strings. So let's bring in a piano sample first. I really love Grandma's Upright. This has been a sample I've been returning to from the Nord library time and time again. Let's add some reverb. Great, we're going to turn this down. Let's go to this layer. And now let's bring in some strings. We'll go to sample. These are the new Symphobia samples that are available. They're amazing. They sound really great. Okay, let's give that a little bit of release, so the sound dies away. Let's also give it a bit more reverb. Okay, now if we press both of these layers at the same time, now we can actually bring in the piano. You're ready to score your next TV show. And of course, we could bring these strings down an octave, just like that. Or actually, check it out. The octave shift is per layer, so octave down and... And of course, we can easily map this layer to our mod wheel. So let's do that. So I'm going to map the strings by holding wheel and then bringing up layer 2. And now okay, so for this last part, we're going to make a keyboard and a bass situation where we have left-hand bass and keyboard on the right. So let's get some bass happening. Let's just actually make it like a square. Let's bring it down. Let's make it monophonic. Give it that ladder style filter. cool. Now let's go over here and let's bring in like a electric piano sound. Let's bring in some vibe. Some analog style delay. Nord's new effects are incredible. So now if I bring in both at the same time by clicking both, you're going to hear that they're going to play in unison. That's a cool sound. But what we want to do is we actually want to make it so that left hand plays bass, right hand plays keys. So all we got to do is press keyboard split. Now see, this light just lit up and now it's telling us that everything is split. I'm like, hey man, like bring the Rhodes down, it's too high. Very simply, we have a great bass and some nice EP happening on the right hand. And if you take these concepts between having a 4 oscillator synth and then layers and then splits, you can get into some really interesting sound design. See you next time.